Baba Namo Kevala, 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 Baba Namo Kevala. Namaskar. So, should I start or should I wait? Start? Should I start or should I wait?
You could stay with time. Wait time.
By time.
Yeah,
Start. Okay.
people knew about
Okay.
You know, it's very rare that Dada will allow videos, you know.
So I was asked by Kamala to give a talk on peace in the time of turmoil. And I was thinking some time about this topic. And finally I decided that the correct title would be Tantra, Be Here Now. Why did I choose that topic? Why did I choose that title? Because Shiva says, live in the present. You know? And so we're here, 2024, April, in the history of our planet. And a lot of things are happening outside, a lot of things are happening inside. And this is the result of so many years of history. Many things have happened in the past. And whatever we do here is going to affect the future. So that's why the most important moment is this moment. It is here, now. And that's what Shiva said. Live in the present. Be here now. Don't live in the past. Learn from the past. Learn from all the mistakes of the past. And prepare for the future in the sense that what I do now, it will affect the future. So in trying to address this topic, I consulted in principle 3 discourses of Baba. The first is called The Future of Civilization. The second is called Renaissance in All Strata of Life. And the third is called Velocity and Staticity. So just I took some information here and there and I put together this response to the question. It's interesting that Kamala used the word peace, because normally we think of happiness. You know, we would like to be happy. But happiness is the other side of the pendulum of sadness. So, you know, Baba has already said that happiness and sadness, they're two sides of the same coin. If you want to be happy, you have to be ready to be sad. So peace is something beyond happiness and sadness, and that we call Ananda. So it is the correct terminology, that actually we're moving towards peace. It is one who is in peace is in the ultimate state of balance. There's no happiness, there's no sadness. There's happiness and sadness, but it doesn't affect me because my mind is gone above that. And so, in effect, that's what we're all working towards, peace. But if we look around us in the world today, we see so many problems, we see exploitation, we see suffering, and we see war. And actually I wanted to delve a little bit on this topic of war because it's such an actual thing. Seems like we're surrounded by the possibility of war at the moment. So there's two different words actually in Sanskrit. The one is called Sangram and the one is called Juddha. So Juddha means war and Sangram means struggle. So these are two very different concepts because struggle is part of life. Without struggle, we don't progress. And Tantra is based on struggle, and you know it when you start meditating. So many struggles come on our path, so many obstacles. So this is a part of life, and it can never be excluded. But war is a different matter. And Baba used the word, war is the black spot in the human character. So why is it the black spot? Because it is based on hatred and vociferous tendencies, means the tendency to divide. As yogis, we are trying to live the love, live the concept of love, infinite love, to respect all beings. And unity, we want to bring everything together. So hate and division are exactly opposite to love and unity. So yeah, war is black. It makes everything around it black. And human beings actually want light. We want luminosity. We want to see the brightness. But if you look at the history of our planet, it is war. The history of Europe is war. There's so many. I was looking in the internet the other day. Spain has been in the most wars, 300 wars, and especially the European countries have. It's just the history of one war after the other. So it is the reality. It is not something. If we have to be real. It's nice to be idealistic that war will not exist, but war exists, and one has to deal with it. One person said that many times war leads to realizations. Like after the Second World War, it was such a shock for the planet that they tried to put in certain processes that war would never take place again. So the United Nations is the attempt at that, whether it's successful or not. But it certainly was a response to the horror of the Second World War. And many organizations, many attempts have been made to avoid war in the future. But as you can see, it has not been so successful. But even if you look on a tantric perspective, we go back 3,500 years, we come to the period of the Mahabharata. It was the biggest war, and it was the war which Krishna initiated. So Taraka Brahma himself, he was the instrument behind this. Of course, it was a war of dharma against adharma. And even although it was a war of dharma against adharma, dharma means that part which expands the consciousness, against adharma, that part which takes you away from the nucleus, which leads you more to the darkness. But even although it was a war of dharma against adharma, there were dharmic people on both sides. On both sides of this two camps, it was the Pandavas on one side and the Kauravas on the other side. They were very exceptional personalities. Baba himself, he spoke about Karna. Karna was actually the brother of Arjuna and all the other Pandavas, although he didn't know it at the time. And Bhishma, I mean, all great, exceptional personalities, but they found themselves on the wrong side in that war. So that war was utilized to bring a huge education to the planet at that time. Krishna utilized the Mahabharata to defeat adharma and to bring a whole period of, a whole new period of benevolence, of growth, of spiritual regeneration. So war has also been used in the past for this purpose, to defeat the negative forces. Recently, I heard that Baba was once asked, Baba asked a question. Most of the acharyas in Ananda marga, they're from Indian, or it means in India, they're from Indian origin, not from Pakistan origin. So Baba said, if there was a war between India and Pakistan, what would you do? Of course, most of the acharyas of Indian origin. And Baba's response was, you should serve the suffering humanity. Means that at that time, you don't think about whether they're Indian or whether they're Pakistan. You think about who is suffering and in what way you can be of assistance. So it's very clear that is our, in whatever we do, we have to apply the principles of New Humanism. We're expanding our consciousness. We're not thinking sentimentally, I will help you because you're closer to my religion or to my social group. Now, our duty at that time is to help everyone. And in fact, Baba said that Amurt, or the service branch of Ananda marga, would go a very long way in establishing Ananda marga as an ideology. So Baba said that there are 6 different things which are necessary for individuals and for society to grow. And if a society has these 6 things, then it's almost that they cannot be defeated, that their ideology will survive. And the 6 things, the first one is a spiritual ideology. spiritual ideology. Ideology means to understand why I'm here, what am I supposed to do, and where am I supposed to go. In Ananda Marga, the books probably closest to that would be Idea and Ideology, the book of Ananda Marga, and Elementary Philosophy. It's called Elementary Philosophy, but it's not elementary philosophy. It's very difficult philosophy, but it's called Elementary Philosophy. It means it's the first, most basic things that you should understand as a spiritual aspirant. So, spiritual ideology. Then the second is called spiritual practice. So, in Ananda Marga, you would say it is to convert the five fundamental factors into ectoplasm, and to convert ectoplasm into consciousness, and to take consciousness upwards towards supreme consciousness. So that is what is sadhana. Sadhana is the conversion of a certain energy into a more subtle energy, into an extremely subtle energy. And that is the process of sadhana that we're doing. So you can say that the spiritual ideology and the spiritual practice are like the body of a bird. You know, if you have a bird, the body, that main part, is the spiritual ideology and the spiritual practice. Then, of course, the bird has two wings. So on the one wing, it is the socio-economic philosophy. Means how are we going to live in the world? Human beings is a collective movement. It is not an individual movement. Baba says in many ways that the success of a society is not who comes first, it is who comes last. Means society means collective movement towards a common goal. So if it's going to be a collective movement, you have to have a certain socio-economic philosophy, a certain socio-economic model that can work. We've seen present model doesn't work because some people are hopelessly suffering, and other people are hopelessly rich. Means they're so rich that they're suffering in their richness. So we've seen communism didn't work, and we can see that capitalism is not working, and Baba said it will burst like a firecracker sooner or later. So what is that model that could work? Work means that it could give all the human beings at least the minimum necessities to be able to live, to be able to survive, and to give the opportunity to expand yourself in an artistic way, in a psychic way, and finally in a spiritual way, to be able to realize yourself. So what is that model that will give you that opportunity? So Baba gave Prout. So this is the socio-economic model that he proposed, which would give us the possibility to develop the society in such a way where it is easier to do spirituality. Nowadays, at least in some of the countries where I've been, dishonesty is rewarded and honesty is penalized. If you're honest, you're struggling more. But if you're dishonest, it's very easy. So that means we're completely wrong direction. We have to be in such a situation where if you're honest, it's easy. But if you're dishonest, it's difficult. So that means that social model has to support that kind of existence. So Baba has proposed Prout. So Prout is the left wing. The right wing, can anyone suggest what should be the right wing? So we had the body is spiritual ideology, spiritual practice. Now we have a socio-economic model for the society to grow. What is on the right side?
How to love each other, create family.
Yeah, it's the correct answer, but maybe not the correct wording.
Community. The community.
Community?
Context, connection.
Yeah. Baba calls it social outlook. Means how you look at other people, how you look at other beings. And that is New Humanism. Means that we expand. We're not only thinking about a certain physical land. We're not only thinking about a certain community who speaks a certain language or follows a certain religion. We're not only thinking about human beings, we're thinking about everyone, about humans, plants, animals. So this is neo-humanism. So you have the model, and then you have the outlook, because just having the model and not having the outlook will not work, because you can believe that you can have a very narrow-minded view of the world while still being in the model, but you need to have an expansive mind for this bird to fly properly. Then we have the tail. So what would be the tail of the bird? Something that will give perennial inspiration, means that, okay, you say that now, but after 10 years, it doesn't exist anymore. So what would be the tail? What would be that which keeps us reminded of our ideology?
Freedom.
Freedom. Something material, something very material. Scripture means books that record your ideology or your ideas. So Shastra, it's called in Sanskrit, means the scripture. And then the final would be the head of this bird. What would be the head of this bird? What do we have in Ananda marga which keeps moving us forward, guiding us? Exactly. Preceptor, yeah. So these 6 factors means the spiritual ideology, spiritual practice, socioeconomic philosophy, then social outlook, scripture, and preceptor. These are the 6 things which a society needs to be able to develop itself. So Baba gave 3 things. For a society to develop itself, you need, the first is called asti. Asti means the 5 fundamental factors. So not 5 fundamental factors, the 5 fundamental needs, like I need food, I need clothes, I need education, medical care, a roof over my house, a house over my head. So these 5 factors is the basic security. But with the situation in the world, there is even the thought that even our planet will be annihilated. Of course, it's true that sooner or later the sun is going to run out of energy. It might take some time still, but it's true that everything is limited. Everything has a certain duration. So what will happen to the human beings at that time? Will we all just die with the lack of energy, or lack of oxygen, or lack of possibilities to live? But sooner or later, this planet will lack the minimum requirements to be able to maintain us physically. So Baba said there that at that time, human beings would be so developed that they could transport the whole human population to another planet. So he says that asti is guaranteed. So Taraka Brahma says that your 5 factors are guaranteed. You take it for granted. That's guaranteed. So it means that that is not our problem. We will always have a place where we can exist physically. So then the second aspect was how to develop ourselves. And these were the 6 factors that I just gave. The spiritual practice, spiritual ideology, socioeconomic philosophy, social outlook, scripture, and preceptor. And finally, the third aspect is the goal, and that is Ananda. It means to realize yourself individually and to realize bliss for the whole society. So then Baba looks at certain civilizations. How far did they manage to fulfill that? And why did they disappear? I mean, there were great civilizations. There was the Egyptian civilization. There was the Greek, Roman civilization. There was the Atlantis even. Baba even said something about Atlantis. So they were great civilizations, but why did they not survive? And so the first one Baba analyzes is, he said that about 1,500 years ago, the Arabs were very developed. They were very developed in science. They were very developed in different aspects. But when the Islamic wave came, they were defeated. And he explained why. He said because the Islamic wave had 5 of these factors. I'm not sure which of the factors they had, but they had 5 of these factors, and the existing civilization didn't have enough of those factors, and that's why they were overrun. They couldn't survive. Then he looks at Egypt, and Egypt was a very, very developed civilization, especially in art, in architecture, in culture, in science. Just look at the pyramids, still standing as a proof of that. But they couldn't survive. And anyone could give suggestion why the Egyptian civilization could not survive?
It was very